Welcome to On the Chain.
It's up here, but Wheat's a Wind from God, what the hell's the name of his new company? It's not called Sum. It's not XRP Labs. It was like it rhymes with ramen. I know it rhymes with ramen.
It was
Zamen.
Zamen.
But anyway, he put this interesting tweet out. This one's was really interesting. I think we have to go through and sort of dissect this, but he put this tweet thread out here. But he said, "Why is it that the Ethereum, the EVM ecosystems are always coming up with new cool features and ideas, and why is the XRPL always playing catch up?"
Which is why we put ETH is better and faster in the title. Just FYI.
And why? Because of smart contracts. So you don't have to change the entire blockchain protocol. You get a blank canvas, come up with a new feature, and you build it. So that's why he was. So he said, look, I've been around in the XRPL ecosystem long enough to be certain it's not because of the lack of brains and creativity by XRPL devs. It's insanely hard to write core XRPL code, even harder to get your idea merged by Ripple devs, Ripple X dev, close to impossible for it to get voted in. So how can the XRP ledger protocol chains lead instead of playing catch up with the latest crypto/DeFi fad and retail features? By giving XRP ledger protocol devs a blank canvas for their ideas and creativity as well. And at XRPL Labs, we've built just that. It's called Hooks. And again, this Hooks has been around for a while, but I like the way he's positioning it here. With Hooks, developers can add their own logic and state to accounts on XRP ledger protocol chains with Hooks enabled. Better key management, compliant features, enterprise features, games, automation, limited signing delegation, one implementation to rule them all. But the thing is, it's a little bit misleading because when you think Hooks, if I think Hooks, I think about when I'm fishing, right? So you get a hook. Inevitably, that little thing gets stuck in your finger somehow, or you catch it on something. If you think about what a hook is, in this case, are really smart contracts, right? Adding smart contracts to the XRPL. That's the Hooks feature that they've been trying to get past for some time now. And this is it. Like look at all the things he's just naming off some things. Like, look at writing enterprise features in there, doing games, any kind of automation. Basically whatever you can dream up can be done, because he's making the case here that all the cool stuff comes out on Ethereum because of the smart contracts, right? You can take a smart contract. There's a lot of things you can execute having a smart contract. So it's had smart contracts from the beginning. Of course, if you know the story about Vitalik Buterin, who couch surfed on Stefan Thomas's couch, and he was there for the initial conversation about smart contracts when they were talking about it back in the day. It just ended up on, Ethereum first. But he goes on to say that almost half a year ago, I think it's probably more than that, maybe 7-8 months ago, we published a blog about Hooks. Hooks aren't just an idea. The technology exists today. On our Hooks version 3 testnet, the Hooks amendment is coming. We just finished a full Hooks security audit by, who is this? This is FEYO, which is a Web3 security audit. So they just did a security audit report to be published soon. And he outlined everything in here. And it's like, this is kind of like the missing thing. Here it is right there. Smart contracts for the XRP ledger. That's why the name, sometimes when you name it weird stuff like Hooks, it doesn't really catch on. Now, you're probably not going to smart contracts because it does more than just smart contracts. But again, that's what Hooks is. So adding Hooks to the XRPL increases the functionality, expands the range of potential services on offer for retail and enterprise users. So one of the key features that sets the XRPL apart from other blockchains is its ability to do things natively, such as token issuing, escrows, decentralized trading. Other chains require smart contracts to do those. So that's why you can't name it smart contracts, because there's already, XRPL is already doing things native, like decentralized trading that doesn't happen natively or requires a smart contract. For example, Jeff and I, dove in the shallow end head first with our XRP, our XRPL project called Badass YETIS. And what's interesting about it is that it's native, right? It doesn't require a smart contract. And so sometimes if you wait long enough, where on like other chains, it requires the issuance of a smart contract. So
It's really good stuff. It's amazing as you dig into it, more and more how in depth the XRPL really is, that they orchestrated and built it from day one to be all encompassing. And to be able to expand on it. Whereas with, if you think about with Bitcoin, if you want to make any amendment changes to it, then all of a sudden you're, creating a whole new asset, hence Bitcoin Cash and all those others. We have a disagreement. You believe something's a certain. It's really, it's been refreshing to see how you can develop, within this space. So adding things like hooks, adding things like the federated side chains, and we see continuous development, kind of a living, breathing document, so to speak. And it allows the technology to keep adapting and growing further. But if you look at the base element of the XRPL and having so much detail that was put into it to help facilitate so much of the transaction, and one of the big components that seems to get overlooked is the exchange that was natively built in, which is a strong utility for all, with transaction, cross-border payment, and beyond. But this, I'm so thrilled to continuously see, big development. Some of the things that he's talking about here, with the hooks and, but there's still a lot. It doesn't just things don't automatically get added. There's a lot that goes into the development and expansion. Whereas with Ethereum, what have we seen with Ethereum as they try to roll out 2.0? Soon they're going to try to roll out 3.0 because it was never truly perfected from day one. And they run into, the fact that they established kind of the protocol for all these other entities to roll out with the ERC20s, is what probably gave them the legs that they have today. And they're so ingrained and in depth. Now with XRP or the XRPL and the XLS 20 expansion, we'll probably see, hopefully we'll see a lot more development within the XRP space and the XRPL space. One of the notable differences, which we're all intimately aware of, is the fact that it's difficult to move Ethereum and it's expensive to move Ethereum. And so that's,
Sure.
to me, seems to be like the biggest roadblock, the biggest obstacle. But somehow, I don't know.
Fees are ridiculous.
Fees are absurd. Somehow that gets overcome too. But that's where right from day one within the XRPL, the fees are reasonable. They're not expensive. They're, and so
And fast too. I mean, it's much faster.
significantly faster, and that, can't be, definitely can't be overlooked at all. And that's where, as the XRPL transitions into being a larger platform for building on, man, I think, all bets are off, with Ethereum. I don't see Ethereum, maintaining that lead position. I see there's definitely got to be a flippening at some point. They have first mover advantage, but technology wise, does this go back to a VHS versus beta argument, or is this more in line with a Microsoft Apple argument?
I don't think it really fits any of them. I think really that if they can adapt the technology and make it useful, I mean, Bitcoin's its own animal, but if you look at all the development that happens on Ethereum, there's a reason, like first mover advantage. They just rolled it out. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't really ready. It wasn't perfected. And it didn't matter. I mean, if you think about the high, I mean, it's hit 43, almost $4,400. I mean, from nothing. So there's a lot going on there. To get in a little more of these hooks here, it says the hooks allow the creation of customized logic and automation with the XRPL, making transactions smarter and then of course more convenient. So these small efficient modules add custom on-ledger functionality, such as creating custom triggers for specific events on ledger, and these triggers can be used to send on-ledger actions or execute actions in response to the specific event. So it's kind of like smart contracts. If you think about how a smart contract is, but it's just it just looks at it, and this is a great part right here. He says, like, well, why is this a big deal? Well, simply put, hooks can add smart contract functionality to the XRPL, give you the freedom to build and deploy your applications with functionality tailored to the specific needs and requirements. They can be used to implement most business logic and then smart contract ideas. So once a hook is set up in an account, it'll allow you to either block or allow transactions to and from the account, change and keep track of the hook's internal state and logic to inform programmatic choices, or send out new transactions on the account's behalf. So it's just like, it really just expands the functionality and gives it like these triggers, these trigger points, which are needed, to smart contracts. And what he's saying is they can be written in C or any other language, and they can be compiled into WebAssembly. So there's also another component too that makes it a little bit easier. He throws a little code snippet up there. And so some of these, let's say like for a firewall hook, this is kind of on point. So malicious small transactions containing memos or outgoing payments to confirm scam accounts are then blocked. And then the hook can then retrieve a block list from a different hook installed on a different account. And this means the user doesn't have to update their firewall to remain safe. Additionally, the user can impose spending limits. How does hooks differ from the ethereal virtual machine or the EVM? Hooks and the EVM both allow developers to build and deploy custom logic and automation within the respective platforms. However, some key differences between these two technologies set them apart. And one of them is the main differences between hooks and the EVM and the platform they're designed to work with. Hooks are specifically designed to work with the XRP ledger, while the EVM smart contracts only work with Ethereum-based blockchains. And hooks are more efficient because they can use WebAssembly, which is way faster, more efficient than the bytecode used by the Ethereum virtual machine. So it's kind of like what you're getting at, Jeff. It's like complicated, it's confusing, and WebAssembly is a lot easier to use and easy to compile. And then additionally, XRPL hooks can use guards to ensure the maximum execution. So there's just a lot of good stuff to the reason for this. And so him going into this whole thing about hooks is a really good thing.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.